So yesterday we talked about the prophet Isaiah, somewhere between the 8th and 7th century BC, and he spoke grandiosely about many of his prophecies. He was a prophet to at least 4 of the kings of Judah, and for 3 years he shed all his clothes and just walked around in a very small loincloth among a people who were very much about covering themselves. And he did this for 3 years because he said God told him to walk around naked. So he may have cracked under the pressure at some point. But he prophesied about a Messiah. Now, Messiahs are nothing new. There were Messiahs thousands of years, claimed to be Messiahs thousands of years before Jesus. Today we probably have at least a baker's dozen of people here on YouTube that, claim to be the Messiah. Let me get it straight. I don't ever feel like I've talked directly to God or gotten anything back from God, and that goes for Jesus and Ganesh and Vishnu and Krishna. Now, why do I say Vishnu and Krishna? Because they were both considered to be messiahs in their time, and Krishna was crucified on a tree or a cross. Goes back to the almost to the year 2900. There is an image of Krishna being crucified on what looks like a cross. Miracles. This is in India. This is Hinduism, and then came Buddhism, where you had the Buddha, who was born of a virgin, was able to walk and talk coming right out of the womb. Remember Nebuchadnezzar, he was considered a possibility of being a Messiah. But what it comes down to is there are many, many, many depictions of a divine entity that is born without sin, sacrifices his life, and then is brought back to life either literally or spiritually. This has been happening for thousands of years. You can go back to China, you can go to India. When the conquistadors got to Mexico, they found a depiction of a black human on a cross, crucified. So you have to understand the fact that Jesus was just another story in the middle of all those stories. Well, why has it endured? Well, people will say that it has endured because it has the feel and the spirit of truth to it. And that's where we come to what I call confirmation bias. People don't want to listen to things that maybe go against what they believe, and every scrap of someone saying, no, this is real, this is exactly what happened, they tend to believe, and whether it's out of fear or out of a lack of the ability to intelligently talk about things that are spiritual, I don't know. There are 2 modern depictions of the Jesus life, especially the sacrifice. One is in the movie Gran Torino. Clint Eastwood at the end sacrifices himself to the mob who shoot him, and if you notice, when he hits the ground, his arms are outstretched. He looks like he's in the crucifix position. And there's also a wonderful book called Illusions by Richard Bach, where it's the reminiscing of a modern day Messiah as told by what becomes his disciple, but they're very modern. They're barnstorming pilots, and the name of the Messiah is Don Shimoda. And yes, in the end, he is killed for what he says, not for what he does. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, there are 2 messiahs. Neither one of them match up to Jesus. There was a man named Judah who died a violent death around 72 BC that's found in the scrolls, which were found in 1947 near the Dead Sea. But more than likely, this Messiah was an Essien named Menahem. he lived a generation later. He was killed by Romans right after King Herod's, the original King Herod's death, about 4 BC. And the Essenes were a desert-dwelling people who kept the Torah very close to themselves. And also the scrolls give some evidence that there were other messiahs named Jesus. And Jesus, Yeshua in Aramaic, was not an uncommon name. It also could be interpreted as Joshua, who was the Hebrew who took over the wandering Jews in the wilderness after Moses died and brought them to the Promised Land. So there's a lot of overlap, and we're going to try to sort this out.